Hi everyone, Rob Russ here. Welcome to The Unspoken Truth. If this is your first time here, welcome. It's great to have you here. And if you're back for more, welcome back and thanks for your ongoing support. Got a quick update for you. The Australian Prime Minister has headed over to Europe. He's on his way to the NATO summit in Vilnius in Lithuania. And he stopped off in Germany in the last day or so. And he's written a good deal for the Australian defence industry, and he sold more than 100, or he sold 100 Boxer vehicles to the German military, and there's been some other announcements as well. So Albo's done a good job for Australia while he's been over there, but I guess it's a matter of perspective as well. If you think that selling military vehicles to another nation is a good idea, well then I guess it keeps the jobs here in Australia, and that's a good thing, and they're not going somewhere else. But you know, selling military hardware that's designed to kill and defend and do all sorts of bad things is a matter of perspective. But look, I'm a bit conflicted like everybody when it comes to those sorts of things. But I think we're used to buying military hardware from our allies and from other partners, not actually supplying it. So Albo's done a good job here writing this deal for Australia, and it's keeping jobs here in Australia. So give credit where credit's due, and I think he's done a good job. There's also been another announcement this morning. Richard Miles, along with Albo, have came out and told us that the RAAF is going to be sending an E7 Wedgetail across to Germany in the next couple of months. They haven't defined when that's actually happening, but that's going to get into the fight, and it's going to be part of the operation with Ukraine and Russia. At no stage do these machines go into Russian, Belarusian, or into Ukrainian airspace. They stay outside of the airspace, peeking in with their sensors. A lot of SIGINT and ELINT capabilities there, and as far as AWACS aircraft goes, this is the very best that is out there, and we've got some great capability in the RAAF with that, and we're only going to be able to enhance the Ukrainians' capability with this as well. But I have some more to say on that in just a second. Let's take a little look at what the Defence Minister has to say about this deployment.
But the E7 is a highly capable aircraft in terms of what it does, providing really eyes in the sky and communication to a whole range of other military assets. So it's a critical enabler in terms of both military support here, but also support to humanitarian efforts in relation to Ukraine. The E7 is actually an aircraft of such capability that it's a capability that is not unique to Australia, but we're one of the few countries which actually operates it at this level. And so there was a desire from others to see us make this contribution, and we're very pleased to be able to do that. We've been working with our partners for some time now about this deployment, about when it is most usefully needed. It's for 6 months, and so it does play an important part in terms of the timing of other operations that occur.
Now, I'm not entirely sure that he really knew what he was talking about there. He was fumbling his words and fumbling his description. When you watch the whole interview, it's a little bit awkward. I kind of sped it up a little bit there so you can't pick it up. But when he's talking about it, he's sort of like trying to not describe what it is, but then trying to describe what it is. I think he knows the capability of it, and all the capabilities of it are top secret. So he doesn't want to let the cat out of the bag. But he kind of let the cat out of the bag there at the end of the interview without realising. Now, Anthony Albanese is overseas in Europe, and somebody's got to be in charge when Albo's gone, and Richard Miles is the Deputy Prime Minister, so he's the acting Prime Minister, and he gave away a little bit of a secret at the end of that interview there, and I'm just scratching my head going, who the hell is in charge? What is going on? Because he said, oh, we're not talking about when this is going to be deployed, but the timing of the deployment is, you know, when we need it. And now the Ukrainians are talking about training F-16 pilots and getting these new jets and this new capability, and they're bringing that in country. So are we going to be deploying our Wedgetail at the same time that they're doing that? It sure sounded like that. Man, oh man, this guy's got to get some media training, and he's got to figure out how to be a more effective communicator, especially when it comes to talking about deploying our forces and putting our young men and women in harm's way. He better be more concise and know exactly what he's talking about and stop umming and ahhing his way through interviews. It is embarrassing that this person is the acting Prime Minister and this person is in charge of our military. Man, oh man, I just look at that and it just makes me wonder. Now, I'm not entirely sure whether or not I support us giving them more capability. You know, should we be supporting the Ukrainians anymore? Because for some reason, nobody wants to talk about this. They don't want to talk about that for some reason. And they don't want to talk about this either. So why are we supporting this? Am I crazy, or is it just something else that's going on in my head? I look on a daily basis. I'm looking at my Telegram and I'm saving files on my desktop, because at some point these files are going to be needed. At some point I can bring these files into the public sphere. And if you look closely at what I've got there, you will see on the top left, video files, that's the drive it's saved on, the external drive, which is backed up in the cloud. YouTube, that's the name of the folder it's in, and War Crimes is the name of the subfolder inside of that. So what you're looking at here is a screen grab and a snapshot of one of the folders on my desktop of a series of war crimes that I've seen. And this is where both the Russian side and the Ukrainian side are engaging medical personnel, which is against the laws of armed conflict. They're engaging people that are no longer a threat on the battlefield. They're engaging medical parties. They're doing all sorts of things that are outside the laws of armed conflict. Yet nobody is saying anything about this. Nobody in the mainstream media is saying, hey, did you see that video on Telegram where the Russian soldiers were interfering with corpses or torturing people or murdering people? And the Ukrainians had surrendered and the Russians engaged them, or the Russians surrendered and the Ukrainians engaged them. These are the videos that I've got here on my hard drive. And I'm certain that the intelligence agencies here in Australia know all about this. They know all about it. I'm just a dude looking at Telegram. I'm nobody. Imagine what the intelligence agencies are actually seeing and what the Australian Defence Force actually does know. So why aren't they briefing the ministers, and why aren't they telling the public about this? Why do we continue to support this? Why are we continuing to enable these crimes to continue? I don't know. And I'm really conflicted. And the reason that I'm conflicted, folks, is because nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody in mainstream media wants to talk about it. If you just go and Google it, you'll see it really, really quickly. And if you go and look for it in Telegram, you'll see more than just these pictures. I think these pictures are from a little while ago, but they certainly tell a story and they certainly show me what's really going on the ground there. But what the government wants you to see is just that. They want you to see the two leaders shaking hands. Everybody's happy. There's a deal done there. You give some, we give some. We get some money. You get a plane in our forces. There's all sorts of things that are happening there. I'm not sure what I think about any of this. I'm very conflicted with it. That's why I wanted to make this video. I'd love to know your thoughts. I'd love to know what you think about us exporting weapons to Germany. I'm certain that the men that fought in World War II would have something to say about that. They'd probably be turning in their graves like, what the hell? We're sending our hardware, our military hardware to Germany? It seems upside down, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen? But we seem to be living in inverted times. It just is what it is. I'd love to know your thoughts and your comments. Pop them down below. That wraps it up for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. It's bye for now.